think we're live. Maybe. Welcome everyone to my backyard shed where we in the first world have our problems buried in the yard. Come on in, come on in. Ashley and Katie and Vicky and Robin and Dana, all my favorite supporters are here, but this show's for the public because why the hell not? I wanted to talk about this phenomenon in so many practices where we're literally trying, it seems, to get out of being a human. We're trying to avoid suffering. We're trying to transcend suffering. We're trying to transcend being a human, certain emotions, difficult emotions, or illness, for example. And I can talk a little bit about illness this week, even though it's minor. It highlights something, which is here anyways, it's increasingly seen that there's no getting out of being a human, and there's no reason to. There's no desire to even, and there's no possibility of it happening. Because we're showing up in this human incarnation, which means we're going to have strong feelings, we're going to have past trauma, we're going to have very bad days, we're going to have emotions directed at apparent others, and all of that is the perfection of this moment unfolding perfectly. So what are you going to do? And that sounds super hokey until it's actually felt, like realized. And then you're like, oh, there's nowhere to go. There's nowhere you would even want to hide from it, because it isn't even your life anymore. It's just life. So where are you going to go? How are you going to escape that? Why would you want to? So let's talk about that. Hi, Jana. Hi, Sue. You heard my existential scream just now. I almost just rage quit over here. What am I doing? So we know what it's like being a healthcare professional, a physician, obstetrician these days, Sue. Almost rage quitting is like, that's just Saturday around these parts, right? Because everything seems to push every single button that we have, every trigger that we have, because we go into this, and to some extent, we want to help people, we want to connect with people, we want to feel that we're helping others suffering. But if we're being totally honest, we're trying to escape our own. We're running away from our own feelings of unworthiness, emptiness, incompleteness, brokenness, and what better way than to use our intellect and our hearts to do good in the world? And so we bury ourselves in this work, and then the work destroys us because it's part of a large system that's just fundamentally based on delusion, that somehow we can profit from other people's sickness. And that we need to treat it as some kind of assembly line or business, and we're not given the tools and the teams and the trust to actually do it. And then they tell us it's our fault that we're not resilient enough, or maybe we didn't meditate enough. And then you can see why people this whole abuse of spiritual practice as some kind of performance enhancing drug to try to numb us like an opioid, like religion as an opioid to try to get us through the day. And of course we're going to rage, scream, and want to quit. And that's part of exactly this. That is the expression of this moment happening. It's lifing through you, the scream. The more we're in touch with what's actually happening instead of the layers that we use to live on top of what's actually happening to avoid and distract and bypass in some way, the more that shit's going to come up. And it's going to come up strong. For me, it came up over the course of many different years. And I tried all kinds of things. Started a clinic, went around talking about healthcare transformation, connected with smart people who seemed to care about stuff. And that was all great, but it didn't get away from the fact that the fundamental core of it was I was trying to outrun some kind of feeling of needing this purpose or needing this to fix some kind of defect in me. And the truth is that was never the case. It's always been this kind of perfect unfolding. And part of the perfection is playing this game of being a human. You can't avoid it. So for the last week, it was about exactly a week and a day ago, I started getting a little scratchy throat, and I was like, oh, what's this? Oh, maybe it'll just go away. And then like the next day, it was like being run over with a train, like completely knocked on my ass. Fevers, shaking chills, couldn't sleep at all. Paroxysms of coughing, where once you would start coughing, it would just go until like you almost were throwing up, that kind of deal. And it's been I mean, I had COVID last year. I did a video on that. That was kind of bad, but it wasn't even as bad as this. And I actually still had an old COVID test laying around, so I just took it, and it was, of course, it was negative, like day 4 or something. It was still negative. So it's not COVID, but there has been circulating metapneumovirus. This winter has been a respiratory apocalypse. I blame RFK Jr. just because he exists, and I hate him. Which, by the way, that just arises. It has no backing, except for all the backing that the guy is a complete clown. But anyways, I digress. Has nothing to do with him. The possibilities are probably metapneumovirus or even influenza B, which seems to be circulating in the wastewater here in the Bay Area. It doesn't matter what it is, it's nasty. So my wife got it 2 days after I did. So it wasn't just man flu where I was just complaining, because usually if I get sick, it's rare, but when I do, it's man flu. Nobody else gets that sick. But this time it was like, oh, and the kids got a little sick, but they're kids, they kind of walk it off. So for the last week, including through today, any idea of like meditating through discomfort or trying to detach into a witness, I'm just consciousness that's experiencing this cloud of sensations I'm calling muscle aches, or whatever I'm calling it, right? That wasn't even possible. There was a time when that was possible in my practice, when I could do that. I could detach. I thought I could do it. In reality, it was just another thought-based position that was being constructed. Now it's impossible to do that. So it's like the entirety of the experience collapses into the body. And the body feels, the best way I could describe it was, and probably is to some extent, as if all your energy to do anything were just squeezed into nothing. And you were just down to zero. And there wasn't even, you could say, there's discomfort and stuff, but so what? It's more just like there's just nothing happening. There's no energy to do anything. Even sleep, you don't even have the energy to sleep. So sleep is very dysphoric and weird, and and then the coughing kind of breaks everything up, and it's like, okay. So it was fascinating over the last week to watch the entire project of awakening, which is here is really no longer seen as a project. And you've seen my videos about this. It's like everything collapses into just this. And so what is just this like when it's just illness? Well, it was pretty surprising. Because when I used to get sick, there'd be a lot of, oh man, why me? Why now? Why this? I should have not gone to this cafe, or I should have not this, or I should have washed my hands more. Or now, oh, I'm going to be sick for this many days, like projecting into the future, regretting the past, should, would, could, ought, this sort of epidemic of autism that we have as humans. It ought to have been otherwise. And what I noticed this time was pretty remarkable. And I'm not doing any of this. This is just playing itself out. It just was what it was. It's like, okay, now Zubin's sick. Try not to get the kids sick. Try not to get your wife sick. Oops, wife's sick, because we all live in the same house. Okay, now, and she's kind of where I am, so it's like, we're both like, oh, looks like now we're sick. So instead of going into work, she works from home. Instead of me doing a bunch of stuff, I do much, 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 much less stuff for a week. And that's just how it is. And it's all just absolutely fine. I can't tell you how miserable I used to get when I'd get sick. Like, it was this secondary thought storm of like, oh God, now I'm going to end up having to do this, and I'm going to miss that, and this is so uncomfortable, and why this and why that. And now it's just like, looks like this is what's happening. And it's a huge relief. So the ability even to sit in a meditation chair like this and somehow bypass it by turning it into just a cloud of sensation and allowing that cloud to arise within consciousness as some witness position. That's no longer possible. Now it's just no energy, or just muscle aches, or just coughing paroxysm. And it's not a problem. It's not a problem at all. There's nowhere that you need to go. There's nothing you need to bypass. There's nothing you need to do. There's no practice you need to do except for allow life to live you. That's what it seems like. Now, of course, I don't know anything I'm talking about because every word that comes out of my mouth is nonsense. But I thought I'd share this nonsense with you. Karen says, hello, can you ask Vinay if he has any feeling of responsibility for fostering the epidemic of hatred of science? I hold him responsible. Well, you give him way too much power, Karen, because the epidemic of hatred of science has come from multiple causes happening over decades. One of them is science itself acting like total ass clowns. That said, as someone who has always advocated and continues to advocate a science-based approach to practice, and so does Vinay, in fact, and I can't speak for him and I don't defend or attack him. He's Vinay. He does what he does. He's a force of nature, just like all of us are. I think we're in a place now where people really need to start to just open their eyes and go, okay, all right, your reaction to the bad science done during COVID has gone a little far. And now you've got somebody like an RFK or someone in there who's kind of a science denialist, not kind of, a conspiracy theorist, an anti-vaccine advocate for years and years, and he continues to be, even though he lies about it, and a liar. Like, just talk to Paul, my friend Paul, about it, Paul Offit. He writes a great Substack. Check out Paul Offit, O-F-F-I-T, his Substack about RFK, and that's all you really need to know. So don't worry about other people. Don't worry about RFK and Vinay and Paul and Zubin. Do your own part based on what you feel is right, because that in itself is life. None of this is your doing. None of this is anyone's doing. It is doing itself. And if you don't have to believe me about this, all you have to do is investigate your own experience and see if you can find any doer of experience in your experience. So if that drops and it's just lifing, really all we can do is the next thing. And if the next thing in your wiring is to get pissed about science denialism, then that's fine. You can do that. And you can do the next thing. Maybe it's write an article on Substack. Maybe it's talk to your patients about whatever the fuck. It doesn't matter, but you're going to do it. But sitting here going, Vinay ought to do this. He ought to feel ashamed. Like, that's another epidemic of autism. Ought what? Says who? There's nobody doing this, guys. But that doesn't mean you can't behave like there's personal responsibility, because in a sense, you can't even say there isn't. You can't even say there isn't free will. You can't say there is free will. There's nothing you can say. So pick your meaning, pick your belief, and do what you want. That's all you can do. This idea that we're going to somehow bypass into some absolute truth, that doesn't exist. As far as I can find, this idea that there are relative truths, that's an idea. Believe it as much as you or as little as you want. And the degree to which you suffer may be correlated to one or the more positions that you defend and hold, because all positions ultimately are constructions. So, totally up to you. How do you experience the pain body nowadays, Thumbelina Nutmeg? Thanks for being a supporter, Thumbelina. I like your name. So if you're using pain body the way Eckhart Tolle uses pain body, he's talking about this collective, unconscious trauma body that he personifies. He gives it its own energy. He gives it almost like a human form. He really does just kind of like anthropomorphize this pain body, which is fine. By the way, thanks to Erica Black for this dope-ass shirt. It was for a retreat I did a long time ago. I don't know that I'll ever do another silent retreat because I don't see the need, but I still love this shirt, and I wear it in public, and people look at me and they're like, no, you're not, because I'm yapping away. And I'm like, oh shit, I forgot I was wearing this. the pain body. So let's use his general construction without making it into a big thing, because that's nonsense. That's another story and an idea, and it's a teaching tool, I'm sure, that he likes to use. I don't really fully care about it that much. But there is this idea of conditioned reactivity, trauma, and it can be intergenerational. It can be collective, like the collective trauma that happens after one side wins or loses an election, for example. That's just a simple example. So these things comprise what he might call the pain body. And the pain body is often laying in wait, is the way he talks about it. And it can get activated when it's triggered, and then we act unconsciously from this conditioning. And in many ways, this is the opposite of being awake, because we're allowing conditioning to hijack us fully and unknowingly. And so it just starts running the show, and we don't even know what's happening. We lose ourselves in a sense, or we lose any awareness of that, and we're just acting unconsciously, often violently. So for me, this is interesting. So in this kind of post-spirituality deconstruction that seems to be happening here, conditioning is there, and it's been seen so directly, and it continues. That never ends. That process never ends, because the conditioning is unlimited in this way. It just keeps coming up because we have long lives. I mean, I've been around, I turned 52 last week. It's like, I've been around a while, half a century. I have a lot of conditioning. And so did my parents, and so did their parents, and this sort of ancestral thing, this whole psyche thread that unfolds. For me, I've dug through a lot of that, or I should say it's all arisen, and not all. It has arisen by itself. It's been felt and seen, in some sense understood and contextualized and storyified, in other sense just felt. And so now what happens is, when that pain body seems to be activated, it's obvious. Like, it's no longer something that can seem to happen unconsciously. I think it still can in certain ways. There's certain things that still will trigger me unconsciously, because there's still work that needs to unwind, it seems, because it's never ending. But for the stuff that has seemed to unwind, it's like, oh, like I'll feel the reactivity. I'll notice it happening. I'll even see myself starting to react. And then there's this very strange thing that happens, which is a kind of instant, like it's like a recognition, like, oh, reactivity. Oh yeah, Zubin got triggered. Yeah. And then something remarkable, without trying to do anything, because I can't do nothing. I know that there's no doer here to do that anymore. You just can't even notice that. It just is, just let's go. Sometimes it takes a minute, sometimes it takes a second, sometimes it takes 20 minutes. And 20 minutes later, you realize you've been in the grip of this thing. And it just, poof, relaxes, and then you're like, oh. And then the strange thing happens, there's a spontaneous movement to behave in some authentic way around it. So either fess up and go, oh, sorry, I was triggered, or do something to undo some unconscious act that you've done. And you're not even trying to do this. You're not doing this to be a good person. You're not doing this to be any kind of person, not based on any belief. It happens spontaneously. So I'm just explaining how it is here. It's different for everybody. Welcome, Sandra, to the supporter tribe, for signing up. One with Nothing says, maybe enlightenment is when we investigate the possibility of it so deeply that we become completely disillusioned and hence have no more doubts about it either way. Yes. Yes, yes. This idea of disillusionment is front and center. Because the first movement for me was disillusionment with reality as it is. Disillusionment with material reality, with science as the sole explanation of reality. And when I realized, oh, science was saying stuff is real and it generates consciousness, that's bullshit. So then you go to the next level of disillusionment. Oh, so everything's consciousness, like Eckhart Tolle or Donald Hoffman or these folks that I've spoken with. Everything's consciousness, okay, interacting with itself. Guess what? That view can be seen as a view and can be disillusioned as well when you realize there isn't even consciousness. Consciousness is another movement, another phenomena And so when everything isn't consciousness, boy, that's a deep disillusionment, because guess what? Where's meaning now? If everything was consciousness, you could say everything is God in this way. Everything is this one field of awareness, and it must have a purpose, and it must have a meaning, and it must have a direction, and it must be evolving, and it must want to know itself, all this bullshit. That can be disillusioned the fuck out of you. Just from further realization, it's just like, nope, that can drop. Then what? Then you go through a true disillusionment where it's like, no, there's no meaning. There's no direction. Nothing has ever happened. Go watch my video on the end of seeking, but it's always this. Like, you'll see me express from that place. Just empty radiance. And at that point, every teacher that you've ever had, every guru you've ever watched, every YouTube video you've ever watched is seen through and through to have been complete and utter nonsense. And that's another level of disillusionment, where you just go, oh, now what? There's nowhere, as it says in the Bible somewhere, the birds have their nests and something have their something, but there is nowhere for the Son of God to lay his head. There's nowhere you can hide now from the free fall of this. So that's another level of disillusionment, right? The illusion goes poof. The illusion that anyone knows what the fuck they're talking about. The illusion that there's a teacher somewhere that knows what's going on and can express it. People can point, they can be useful. All that's part of the path, apparently. But that can fall away, and then it's like, ooh, no consciousness, no form, no emptiness, just nothing. And that's kind of like you could say it's nihilism, but even that's a belief, and then that belief gets disillusioned. And so that's how it was here. It was like, oh, even nihilism got disillusioned, and now it's like, wait, what's left? and at that point, you realize it's life. Not my life, just life. Life lifing. Life living itself perfectly. And I will tell you, you can use words like unconditional love. You can use words like pure radiance, all one. You can use all those words and they don't even touch. They don't even touch it. Because they're words. Just feel right down from head into heart and feel how this is the substance of all. Empty and full. And then you start talking like gibberish. It's empty and full. It's radiant and nothing. It's all love, but for no one. So that's a different level of disillusionment. And then you get sick, and suddenly everything is just body. Woo! No energy. Up all night. Not a problem, just what it is. Something triggers the pain body. Whoa, what the fuck was that? I have to say, having been through a lot, I would not have this any other way. Not that I could. There isn't even something here to want it to be otherwise. And that's a huge relief. That's the kind of disillusionment I can get behind. These are great comments. Let's see. Yeah, Maz, the Tao that can be named is not the true Tao. I mean, is there even a true Tao? Like, this is it. You start talking about it, you're talking about ideas, and that is the Tao. That is this. That is radiance. That is oneness. That is the beloved. That is unconditional love. All these words, just words, just words. Pick your favorite words that make sense to you and stick with them. Hold on. So what do you guys think of, I'm going to move a little closer here. What do you guys think of my little backyard shed? I'm using this little microphone. Does it sound okay? This is kind of fun. I kind of prefer this to sitting in the studio like I've been for so many years, you know? So let me know if it works for you. Leave a comment if it does. Erica Black, who made this shirt, who's a supporter for so many years. My week has sucked. I am getting hammered. Namaste, Erica. That is exactly how it goes, isn't it? My week was, if I could speak about it in that way, I would say, yeah, it sucks. Can't do much. Afraid of getting anyone sick. Can't sleep. And yet, I don't know. I don't really have a problem with it. Very strange. Good to see you, though. Neil, the act of creating, especially art, can contain its own meaning. Well, that's it. We make the meaning wherever we want. So every act is an act of, everything is an act of creation. Just life creating. Isn't that beautiful? So if you're looking for meaning in the meaningless, because this itself has no fundamental meaning beyond it is. And actually, think about that. To think about that there is something rather than nothing is in itself a hugely meaningful, to the human, move, right? And again, we're not trying to bypass our humanness. We're here in human form. So meaning shows up as we want it, as we create it, as we embrace it. That's why, sometimes you'll see some people on YouTube expressing in a way where it almost sounds like a death cult. Like, humans are the worst and they're just so deluded and the best thing is to just withdraw from them entirely and you have to just die into the just empty. And it's like, okay, that's fine if that works for you. I don't see where you can go. This is it. Our humanness is it. It is everything because it's what's showing up. Try to deny it. Try. Go ahead. See if it works. If it works for you, tell me how. Maybe I'll give it a spin. Haven't found it to work. I tried it. Now it's like, gosh, every second is just this precious gift, like makes you want to cry. Even when it sucks. Maybe especially when it sucks. There's a beauty and a poignancy to it. These same people will say, now you're just making meaning and you have belief and this is like a subtle energetic. Shut the fuck up. Just live. Live your life. Live the beauty. Let the beauty live you. It's not your life. Let life do its thing. Maybe for you, life is telling you that. That's fine. Or maybe it's telling you have to meditate 20 hours and do self-inquiry and have all these practices and practice compassion and all of that. That's fine too. Whatever works, man. Whatever life is doing, that's the answer. Whew. Man, I'm not well. Erica says, sometimes you just need to unwind. Hopefully didn't ruin the best thing to come into my life lately. You can't ruin anything, Erica. Yeah. Oh, Ricky, glad that you like the backyard shed, Mike, the whole thing. Kathy H. Well, yes, sometimes people suck and you need a break. I guess that's meditation. Sure. Sometimes people definitely suck. Like the human delusion is sucky. It can be really sucky. Like this whole idea that you're born, you work hard, you make money, you struggle, you compete, all that. It's made up. It's fine. It's a game. You can play the game as much as you want. Take it sincerely. I wouldn't take it seriously, though. Doesn't take much to disabuse you of that. Hi, Risa. Happy birthday, Jolene, one of my supporters. George Shepard, how are the Z-Pups? They're doing great. One of them's at Great America right now, down in San Jose. She's the head of her middle school orchestra, the concertmaster, and they're doing a performance down there, but they get to ride all the rides and have fun and everything. And my other one's studying for the 20 AP tests that she has to take. And yeah, I mean, if they ask me for advice, which they don't because they're teenagers, they're like, whatever, Dad, you and your guru bullshit. I just tell them, dude, take it sincerely, but don't take it seriously. That's all you can do. Happy birthday, Maz. Sue, any thoughts about abuse in spiritual circles? Yeah, human's gonna human. Spirituality is this total con. You know that, right? Like the whole spiritual thing. By the way, I love the show The Righteous Gemstones. Have you guys seen that? So funny. I love Danny McBride. Actually, Land of the Lost is one of my favorite movies. You guys will laugh at me, but it's so fucking funny, partially because Danny McBride is hilarious. And I love Chaka. I was a big Land of the Lost fan as a kid. Anyways, spirituality is a total shit show. Like, fine, it can give you some tools like meditation or prayer or whatever to help crack through the first level of disillusionment that you need to have, which is that this is real. Disillusion that's great. But after a while, it starts to become a little thing that is this secondary form of delusion and ego. Attainment, how am I compared to others? Oh, I have some clarity, let me go teach. And then once you dub yourself a teacher, realizing that you can't say a word about this, and yet going out and teaching becomes paradoxical, right? Hey, people, I'm glad I had my teachers. So I'm not saying don't do it or don't go get a teacher, all that. It's more that you got to see through at some point that like that falls away. And in those circles, it's like any human circle. You get power, power corrupts. The more power you have, and spirituality gives you a ton of power because it makes you feel better than, and other people want what you have, which is some relief from suffering in their mind. If they really knew what this was, they'd realize they already have it, and that you have no power, that the guru has nothing but a finger that points back at you, at your own inner guru that's telling you, this is how it is. Listen to yourself, you know? So abuse in these circles, like Sam Harris talks about this really eloquently and repeatedly, actually. He's almost obsessed with this topic, and I think that's good, because someone needs to be, because it's bullshit. Now, you know, there's been some drama recently in some spiritual circles, known to some here. And just, guys, just as someone who kind of knows all the players, just let it go. It has nothing to do with you. It's normal human bullshit. It's normal human craziness. And it's not some crazy culty, goofy shit. It's just not. Nobody's cool enough for that, honestly, I think. But who knows? I could absolutely be missing something. But I doubt it. It's so funny. People are so they're just so people-y. What makes humans social creatures? Tons of conditioning, Jesse. Mammalian conditioning and big brains. Big brains that, there are some theories that our brains evolved a certain amount of neocortex to be able to hold roughly 100 to 150 people in memory to then allow a tribal social interaction. And that's why we have these very big brains. But who knows? It's a double-edged sword, because hell is other people. Like, what you think other people are is a projection of your own mind. And depending on how your mind is going, that can either be hell or heaven or neutral. For me, increasingly, it's neutral. But it used to be hell. Hell was definitely other people. Perseverate and think and ruminate about what other people thought of me, or how I could get back at someone, or how someone had wronged me, or what I could do for someone to make up for something I'd done to wrong them, and so on. And it's like, it's just this constant wheel of, it's the side effect of having these big social brains. That can fall away. Then you just see people as what they are, which is these radiant, not other than you. Risa, do you think it's about moderation, like too much spirituality, too much focus on work accomplishment, too much of anything? I think certainly going to extremes in anything seems to be ill-conceived. But if you take like a certain Buddhist way of looking at things, this middle way, one way to think about that is freedom from extremes, meaning neither this nor that. So it's like, if you're talking about self, like, is there a self, is there not a self? You could just say, there's neither a self nor not a self. That in a sense is the middle way. It's kind of the freedom from either position, because we can't know anything from the mind. It's just a thought, it's just a story. So if we let that go, then what's here now? Oh, just this. Just this, perfectly perfecting. And that's kinesthetic. It's actually felt. It's felt in the body. It's not even the body anymore. It's just like, whoa, everything is the body. And nothing is the body. And then see, you start to talk like this because the Tao that can be spoken is not the true Tao. One with nothing says everything in moderation, including moderation. I've always been down with that. Do you feel we have spiritual guides, Lisa Kupka? I feel like everything that we think is external is our mind's projection. And you can experiment with this by noticing things around you and notice the labels and the emotional response from seeing things, particularly in your house, because you're so conditioned around that. And then you can do this little game where you drop attention into this space around the chest. And this particular space, you can, instead of like thinking about it or feeling like there's something looking from down here at this, just allow this, what is here, this sensation, this sort of warmth. It's kind of like a warm radiance that seems to live here for many when we're calm. And then have the sense that the mind actually sits here and is projecting a world out. And this is a visualization to some extent, right? So it's a little artificial, but bear with me. So as you're sitting here, and now from that warmth and that radiance, you're creating a world. See if it doesn't have an entirely different quality. So when we talk about spiritual guides and gurus, it's our own heart mind creating these. And they're all just there to point us back here. And so they show up as apparent external people, but there are no such things to be found. There's just this in our, just this. Anything else is just fucking extraneous. Oh, June gave a gift membership to the crew. That's so awesome, June. You are such a sweetie. Erica's getting some ads, says they're annoying. Yeah, I turn the ads on when I go public to YouTube because I'm like, unless you're kind of supporting the show, you'll have to watch ads. That's just how it is. Because why not? Hi, Joe. I'm kind of spoiled. I found Angelo from The Jump. No games, no BS. Yeah, and that's beautiful that that's how you found it. For me, I found Angelo incredibly helpful through a point. And when I hit that point, it was like I had to let that go. Like fully. Like I can't watch a single video. None of it makes sense to me. So at some point that can happen, or maybe it doesn't, right? And you know, like he and I are good friends, but like I don't care to watch anything about spirituality really at all. And something just kind of happens where it's like, oh, it just eats its own tail. It's like the Ouroboros in Zen, right? That snake that's eating its own tail. At some point, spirituality turns into this toroid that just eats itself. And then there's just like, just this. And that means everything felt as it is. Trying to make anything of it, it's very hard to do. Yeah, Angela's very clear. He cuts through a lot of BS. Daniel says, a lot of status games happening in the religious world, more Rolexes than I can count at my synagogue. Yet there's a Ukrainian refugee looking for work for months and no one bothered to help him. Welcome to organized religion. Because it hijacks the fundamental truth that these prophets were saying, right? Or these books were saying, and turns it into another hierarchical human abomination, which is fine. Nothing wrong with that. Not for me, though. Yeah, Sue, Angelo says you'll need to let go of me, right? When you see the Buddha, meet the Buddha on the road, kill the Buddha. No, He's the first to say that. That's what's great about Angelo. He doesn't need you around, right? He just wants people to wake up. Why? I actually don't know. He has reasons, but like, I actually don't care if people wake up. It's very strange. Like, it doesn't matter. Who's waking up? I guess it's nice when it happens, but I have no investment in that because I know I can't wake anyone up, because I can't wake me up, because nobody wakes up. There's just awakeness. There's just life. And he knows that too. And he said that. Yeah, let's scroll back here, take a look at some comments. Jesse Zhang, how do rites of passage in life help with human development? In a sense, you could say they are human development. Like, adulting is a human development. Getting a job is a human development. Going through school is a human development. Getting married can be a human development. Not getting married can be a human development. It's all a part of a dream. It's all part of a story to a character that isn't and couldn't ever be you, because what you are is not knowable by mind. And it's what all of this is. You are that. Lisa says, do you feel you can connect to people that have passed, or is that not something you believe in? I don't know what passing means. Like, the whole question of what happens after you die is no longer something that is asked here. It just doesn't even make sense as a question. And I'll actually stop talking about that, because if I start trying to explain why that is, it's wrong. But the question doesn't even arise, so I don't even know what that means. And by the way, that's a relief, because I used to think about that shit a lot. One with Nothing says, it's been fun seeing friends waking up, even if it's not on a specific map. The growing of wakefulness is another consistently that makes me smile, because I know things will be easier for them. Yeah, see, I feel the opposite, actually. When I see someone awakening, first of all, it's tough to even see a person awakening. It just seems like, oh, there's another phenomenon. But then I'm like, oh, now just wait. Because now comes the real work. Because now comes all this shadow material is going to arise, all the emotion, everything they haven't been feeling, everything they've been using mind to avoid, all their trauma, everything is going to come full on. And it's just like Yoda said, Luke's like, I'm not afraid. And he's like, oh, you will be. You will be. Yeah. So I just kind of go, ooh. Ooh. It's beautiful. Like, for me, I wouldn't have it any other way, but I cannot project what I think. I used to have a fucking big spiritual ego. I'd be like, oh, I'm going to wake people up. And they need this. The whole world needs this. If we just woke up, oh man, if we saw reality as it was, the world would be a totally different place. Like, wow, that's next level delusion. It's like saying, I'm going to make this dream the best fucking dream I can fucking make it. I'm going to polish this dream into a fucking shine. It's still a dream. Still no one dreaming it. What does Dogen say? To study the Buddha way is to study the self. To study the self is to forget the self, awakening. To forget the self is to be actualized by myriad things. So now it's like you're everything. When actualized by myriad things, your body and mind and the body and minds of others drop away. Nope. No trace of enlightenment remains. And this no trace continues endlessly. Boom, Dogen. These Zen motherfuckers, man, they were ruthless. They're like cut through all the delusion. Shut the fuck up. No trace of enlightenment. Nothing. Beautiful. And then they fucking jack off about Kensho for hours. Have you had Kensho yet? So funny, so paradoxical. Human's gonna human. John Pienta says, I wouldn't script fear into any kind of awakening. We have no idea what's going on. I categorically reject that notion that we know anyone will have to experience fear as a part of it. Yeah, you're right. I just know what I experienced. It wasn't just fear. It was like everything. Everything. Actually, guys, weigh in the comments, maybe after the video's gone live. Like, did you experience, what was your experience post insight? And just take a little poll. It doesn't mean that it'll happen to you because we don't know anything. The whole thing is entirely unknown. It's absolutely unknown. Just like you don't know they're going to have a good time. You don't know it's for the best. What does that mean? That's a total fucking story. That awakening is for the best. For who? For what? Then people tell stories like, well, awakeness wants to wake up to itself. Listen to what's coming out of your mouth. That's a fairy tale. That's no different than, in the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. It's the same thing. Maybe worse, because it feels more like, oh yeah, that's a fable I can get behind. Everything I'm saying is a story. Just let it go. I'm just fucking with everyone. Let's see here. Oh, I'm sorry about your cat, Christina. That sucks. 17 years old. Lay out on the grass, got to say goodbye to him under a sky full of stars and a rising crescent moon. That's gorgeous. And that cat, when a cat's ready to go, they're just ready to go. They're not sitting here ruminating on the afterlife. They're just like, I'm meowed, you know? Too soon? Seriously, sorry about your cat. I was actually looking at my cat the other day, and we have a lot of love for this cat, like collectively as a household. Like, we spent a lot of money doing dentistry on this cat because the cat had rotten teeth. Like, we care about this cat, but it's funny, something has fallen away recently where I look at the cat, me and the cat make eye contact, and I'm like, cat, if you were gone tomorrow, I would not give two fucks. It's very strange. I don't want you to be gone. I certainly don't want you to suffer, but it's like, cat or no cat, that's what's happening. That's strange, though. Now, could I say that about my children? I'm not quite there. So maybe that letting go happens. Not something that I want as a father. That's not wantable. But the cat is fucking dead to me. One with nothing. No trace of enlightenment, but there's still the trace of the relative. What's left after all the disillusionment is indescribable. But my human conditioning still wants others to feel better. Sure, that's beautiful. Yeah. Fuck yeah. Every word of that. That's beautiful. I feel that, yeah. That's really what this video is about. It's like, we're not getting out of being human. You can talk all the highfalutin bypass stuff, right? Like, oh yeah, there's nothing going on. But it's like, in the end, it's like, don't want other people to suffer. Don't mind if the cat disappears, but also not wanting that, you know? It's like that. John Pienta, cosmic horrors beyond comprehension, and I wouldn't trade it for the world. Right? It's like, man, there's some shit you go through that's like, whoa, I did not sign up for this. And I would not trade it for anything. Not at all. Meow out. Christina, I'm sorry, I've been sick. I'm not in my right mind. Fuck me. Okay, let's see. Scroll back. Twister Chris, I believe it or not, I had a spiritual wake up at work. I like that, spiritual wake up. I've not heard that term. I dig it. But I asked it to stop. because I had kids to take care of, what was the most interesting was that I was in a mindless state when just boring at work. Oh, man. I don't know why. That just kind of transmitted. I got nothing to say to that. It's great. Oh no, Christina's also got the flu. See, dude, Christina, this flu sucks. And you lost your cat. That's a lot. We don't get out of being human. I'll tell you that. But I will say, like, I'm going to make meaning out of something that has no meaning. Being sick the last week was like a great relief in some sense, because there was a lot of things that I could have done that week that I didn't do. And instead, I just slept a lot during the day. I just allowed the body to have no energy, which is something I've never allowed, really. I've always wanted to be a doer, go and do stuff. So what happens when you just get to be? Oh shit, it's kind of nice. It's not bad. George, my Les Paul is over at the studio and it's just gathering dust. I need to fire it up at some point, except I suck. Kathy H., she reminded me of Jennifer Aniston on the morning show when she had COVID and went live on the air. Oh, did she? Yeah, I got to watch more TV, or do I? I'm trying to connect with the earth and the all-knowing as much as possible, Emily Anderson. Cool. Let me know how that goes. Oh no, Christina's mom's dying too? What the fucking fuck? Dude, it's like total Venn diagram of catastrophe. Cat-tastrophe. Cat dies. Your mom is dying, I'm sorry. You've got woman flu. And you got to put up with me making Venn diagrams about your suffering. That's some shit right there. You know I love you, right? Ashley, I swear sometimes when we get sick, it's a sign that we need to take a rest. Maybe that's just something I tell myself. Yeah, I told myself that. It works. Bharat Rowley, can you say loudly, Vinay Prasad, while mimicking the Indian accent in your podcast with him? Well, Bharat, I don't know, because that's kind of racist, but Vinay Prasad, I don't want to, overdo it with the accent only, but so no, I'm not going to do that. There's no way I'm going to do an accent and say Vinay Prasad. I won't do it. Kathy H. says, being sick is humbling. The world keeps spinning without you and you realize it's not about you. It never was. There is no any of that. But guess what? Life still lifes. And now you're just doing it with this apparent body that is totally de-energized or in pain or struggling. Let's see. June says, you sound like a smoker's cough, very phlegmy. Dude, this cough is so shit. It's like loose and yet non-productive at the same time, if that's possible. It's a total paradoxical cough. Joe says, as time goes by, I've noticed less pushing and pulling on experience. I just let it be a lot more. So Joe, that's like the central thing, isn't it? Like the conditioning arises. You realize 100% of your actions come from unconscious processes. You're not choosing any of it because there's no you there to choose it. That's clear. It starts to become just like inevitably obvious. So then what happens is, there's a difference though, because this is how it always is, right? Like, it's not like humans walking around their daily lives aren't acting 100% out of conditioning. They are. They just don't know it. So what happens is this secondary movement of conditioning arises to resist what's happening as if something could be other. And that's what seems to fall away, right? It's like suddenly it's like, oh, I guess I'm sick. Oh, well. Oh, it looks like the cat's dying. Okay. And you can feel all the emotions, like an emotion of grief, sadness, and it can be everything. So when the emotion arises of grief over losing the cat, it is the everything. Like, it just feels like the entirety of the universe is grief. And then the next thing happens. And there's no should, there's no autism. It ought to be other than it is. None of that arises. Or if it does, it's like seen through pretty quick. It's like, nope, can't be other than it is. And that itself is liberation in a sense, isn't it? Because we're free to just have life itself without resistance. How beautiful. Whoa. So now when emotion arises, it's just that. It's just sadness. It's just happiness. Just joy. Just grief. Just pain. I'm glad, Bharat. Risa says, do you have a headache? Go with the cough. That's the worst. And the cough, your head feels like it'll explode. Yeah, for me, it was more chest pain. Like all this pleural pain. So every time I'd cough, the entire chest would burn. I had a lot of neck pain with it as part of the myalgias. And the fevers, man, it's so crazy. Like I would dream that there were worms crawling on my chest, and then I'd wake up and there were drops and beads of sweat like coming down. And I was like, oh shit, this is fucking creepy. Yeah. Night sweats are a trip. Yeah, no autism, one with nothing. There's an epidemic of autism among humans. I'm going to make a video about it, the autism epidemic. OUGHTISM. It's not COVID, Alina. I tested that. Oh, you know what's interesting? So people talk about COVID and taste loss. Totally lost taste with this, whatever this is. For a day, it was gone, like zero taste. Everything just tasted like salt. How can you pull off a white sofa with a cat? We beat the shit out of that cat if it ever gets anywhere near the sofa. Not literally, but we train it. Of course, the cat doesn't come in this shed. Actually, can you guys even see the inside of this thing? Oh yeah, you can. Hold on. Let me pick this thing up. So I'll give you a little. Oh look, it's me. This is how I'm sitting right now. There's my little tootsies, and I'm looking at your comments here, and we've got this wall over here, and there's my beautiful pine tree and our deck and our wilderness. You can kind of see all the way around. Our little table, the TV, and then let's just take it all the way. My little ring light. We're still working on this shed, so there's some painter's tape up for measuring things out. A couple of mirrors that we haven't hung yet. Yoga mats. The thing. And then way too close. Yeah. All right. Let me just get us back aligned. There we go. Actually, hold on. There we go. Got to have the headroom right. Okay, let me pull up your comments again. Toes for free. That's right, Sue. For a second, there were infinite Zubins on screen. That's a beauty, one with nothing. A very zen environment, Dan. Yeah, Lynn likes the space. EM Awakening. Oh, still going live. Awesome. Yeah, welcome. Elena says, or Elena, that's a full-on guest house. I know. We call it a shed because it's made by a company called Studio Shed, but it's actually a full-on prefab little house, little ADU. Let's see. What you gonna put in between the mirrors? A blanket ladder. Yeah, I don't know, Risa. We're still trying to figure that out. Maybe when you come visit, you'll give us some advice. Because anything I put between these two mirrors, let me show you. I'm gonna show you this because, oh, hold on. So I can see what I'm showing you. Okay. Once I hang them, they look like two fucking testicles. So if I put anything in between that looks like a dick, it's a real problem. Infinite regress. So I don't want a dick. So it needs to be something that isn't a dick. So hashtag not a dick. That's what I want. I mean, some people want a dick. I don't. I'm just going to go on record. I don't want a dick. Hannah says, I like the red. Yeah, it kind of came with the thing. Patty Tangi says, a lovely space, E-Dog. Thanks for sharing it with us. Thank you for being here, Patty. Very kind of you. Elena says, a shed you keep tools, lawnmower and stuff like that. That's a California shed, a she shed, if you will. That's right, the she shed, he shed. A studio apartment, that's right, Kathy. Let's see, my cat's sitting on my lap representing you, oh, resenting you, Emily. Oh, damn, dude. Sorry, cat, you have to suck it. Earlier question, but is autism necessarily a bad thing? I understand that sometimes it is, but always, Dan Riddick. Is anything a bad thing? But that the mind makes it so. So there's no answer to that question because it comes from a place of mind that wants to make things into good, bad, neutral, etc. And things by nature are just what they are. They have no value in that way. Guy that comments, bro, keep the tools under the shed, basement area, drug house type of deal. I feel you, dog. John says, I think a big Georgia O'Keeffe style flower so that the mirrors are like legs in the flower is, so you're going for the vagina look. The Georgia O'Keeffe, John, the vagina look. Okay, okay. So these are more like legs and or ovaries. Okay, I'm down to clown. The Z shed. Oh, George. I guess this is the Z shed now. I like that. June says, are you getting rid of the studio? I don't know yet. It's expensive. And I don't really make money doing this game except for supporters. And you guys just barely cover the overhead of that studio. So it's kind of like, do I want to keep that? I don't know. I suppose I could actually do things that make money, but why if I don't want to? Patty says, so funny. It seems we should be talking about more earth-shattering subjects. Autism revealing itself again. Exactly right. This is earth-shattering. Put the blue mirror above your couch horizontally. Horizontally. That's really weird. Not sure about that. I'll have to look at that with Mrs. Dog. Yeah. Risa says, everyone ship him something to put between the mirrors. God damn it, Risa. You're always fucking with me. Now I'm going to get all kinds of weird dicks to put in the center of these two mirrors. Mary sees the tree, a tree of life. Beautiful. One with nothing. I'm curious to see where the spiritual community will go with their communication in the future. Hopefully we can collectively deconstruct the illusions of special teachers and special teachings. Well, it's strange because we're asking a spiritual community to deconstruct itself. And I think that's very difficult because humans are weird. We're kind of tribal. We're hierarchical. We need a boss. We need to know our place in the hierarchy. So I don't know. I don't care too much, but it's fun. Are the Z-Pups allowed in or is it a kid-free zone? We never told them they couldn't come in here, but it turns out we turned it so fucking zen, they're not interested. They're like, this place is boring. We're like, yes. So now it's just me and Mrs. Dog spot. Oh, welcome to the Super Pack, Patty. Welcome to the supporter tribe. That's awesome. Oh, very cool. Cash Kyo says, how can I break free from my identity and truly wake up? Who's asking? Who's asking that question? Look in your experience for the asker of that question and keep looking until you are satisfied. That's how. If there is a how. And I don't think there is. Sherry says, my dog was just diagnosed with a brain tumor. I'm devastated, of course, but this brought me to a great place of presence. I'm in the now moment as much as I can possibly be. I feel great relief. I'm glad to hear that, Sherry. There's a lot I could say, but I'm not going to say anything because you found relief. And that's beautiful. Twister Chris, go ancient tech. The archway was a way to generate life energy. Have something living in the middle. Ooh. Ooh. What about a big potted plant? There's probably enough light back there. It's an interesting thought. Absent Orange says, Z-Dog, last live you mentioned love, but fair to say our understanding of what love is just insufficient. Well, see, yeah, it's not the kind of love that humans talk about. So let me rehash what I talked about in a supporter tribe. So this idea of like kind of dropping from head into heart space and feeling this visceral, kinetic, kinesthetic, energetic signature in the center of the chest, and just surrendering into that as, in a sense, the substance of everything. This is a story, right? Until it's not. So you feel that just beautiful, warm radiance in the center of the chest. And it's just a couple clicks from that becomes everything. It comprises everything known and unknown. And it feels like pure, unconditional love as the substance of reality. And it's just another gate into this. It's another expression, another thread of awakening. It's another, and this is all bullshit I'm saying. These are words, but I have to talk, so. It's beautiful, though. And it's beyond nihilism and not nihilism, and emptiness and not emptiness, and energy and not energy. It's just like, whoa, what the fuck? It's divine, really. It's for the origin of divinity, in a sense. Nice, Risa. Nice. Elizabeth Thomas says, I'm loving that sunlight and the camera quality is amazing. I'm in the visual now. Beautiful. Let me look at what you see. Let me see my image. Oh, that is nice. Oh, let's sit in this for a moment. Beautiful. I love it. Emily says, is it weird to wake up in the morning and just realize you woke up? From what? Am I dreaming awake too? They call it awakening for a reason because it's a really good metaphor. I'll leave it at that. Are you wearing a pager, Risa? Did I just blow your ears out? One with nothing. Those teachings being embedded in the community will have a very different effect on it than a community based on teaching of absolutely cannot question it. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know anything about spiritual communities. I guess I have my own, but they're not really spiritual, but I don't know what that means, so I guess, I don't know. I don't know anything. Looks a little windy there today. Oh, it's always windy here. Actually, today's been unusually windy. Basically, I'm wondering what comes after the deconstruction. Can you deconstruct deconstruction? The snake eats its tail, it seems, here. When spirituality deconstructs itself, it's like you find yourself right back where you started, but it's totally unrecognizable. Yeah, I don't want to say anything else about it. Maybe because I'm just doing it violence. Thanks, Absent. You guys think I should dump my studio, June? What was Joe saying? Hold on. Let me go back to try to. The shed has much better lighting than the studio. You can dump the studio and save dollars. Yeah, I might end up doing that. But it's hard to interview people here, but I don't really interview people much. Although next week I might be interviewing someone. You'll see. I might be, but I don't know. Yeah, Dan, dump it? Okay. Maybe. Well, I would have to like rent it out because I don't think it's a good time to sell it. We'll see. Let's see. Looking through your comments. Yeah, I would rent it out, Risa. Yeah, I would certainly wouldn't dump it. Patio interviews, that could be fun, Emily. I could just get a couple of these. Not VP, Nouse. It'll be a dude talking about. I won't say. Yeah, probably Dan. Airbnb celebrity experience, Vicky. That maybe I'll do that. William Radcliffe. Another technique is to view yourself as looking out through the center of your forehead. Let me try that. A little fun technique. Well, that's like a third eye visualization, yeah? There's all kinds of fun little tricks. In the end, they kind of collapse. They fall away. But yeah, they're fun to do. And they can be helpful at times, like the headless way, different tricks like that, to try to notice the selfless nature of every moment, that there isn't a center, really. That's true, June. Okay, so what else? Maybe as we wrap here, should we wrap it up? What should we do? Take you on a little walking tour? Here, maybe I'll get up. Because I have the mic on me, so I'm tethered. Ugh. Let me get the fuck up. Whoa, there we go. Okay. So here we'll take a little peek outside. Windy. Look at this set of concrete stamped table and chairs. They're badass. Woo, windy. Windy and cold. I love these chairs though, and the table. The whole thing, the 4 chairs and the table weigh 1,500 pounds because they're made out of like concrete that's molded. And here's the little she shed, Z shed. This is where I was broadcasting. Got my little salt lamp here that isn't on. I guess I should have turned it on. And then there's the house. I don't know why I'm talking like this. And then, woo! There we go. Oh, man. Too much fun. Let's grab your comments and get ready to wrap it up. Wrap it up. Let's see. Yeah, we're not on fire yet, Emily. Very beautiful setup. I totally get why you're so chill. Oh, it wasn't chill building this, believe me. It took a year to do all this backyard stuff. And it was brutal. Keith says, I love it. I love when you rap. Oh, hell yeah. Well, we're just going to have to do some non-duality raps at some point. It's still light outside. Why wrap it up? That's true, Dan. I don't know. Maybe we'll just hang out. What type of interviews are you wanting to do? I'm going to interview somebody about a different model, different map of awakening that I think is useful, the threads model. We're going to do it by Zoom, which I hate, but that's okay. Let's see. Dan says, my dad once said he believes that drinking water is the best medicine in the world. It took a while for me to understand, but now I agree. If you actually believe in it, it's more likely to work. I mean, the placebo is strong with all things. With all things. Let's see. You're having fun, Jennifer? All right, well, you guys hit me with some questions then. If you want to hang out more, I don't care. Let's do it. I like hanging out with you guys. There's still like 100 people sitting here. I am observing silence, but I'm not. Oh my God, a whole week of being deathly ill. Oh, totally forgot I had water. That's helpful, especially when ill. All right, hit me with some questions. Ashley's so relaxed right now, I could just sit here in silence with the fam and be totally content. Well, let's do some of that while I'm looking at your comments. It's helping Erica's mood. Well, who am I to go away then? Let's hear. Let me post up a little closer. Let's get a little more intimate. How do you deal with negative feelings? Are there thoughts that you find to be the best working, most useful? I try my best not to resist any thought as negative or feeling as negative. It's just exactly what it is, and it's arising in its own time, in its own place, exactly as what it is. Only our pushing and pulling through reflective mind turns it into something bad or good or neutral. Prior to that is exactly what it is, which is the perfection of the full orchestration of everything showing up as that. So there's really no problem with emotion or with thought. And there used to be, for me. It used to seem like there was, and that was a source of really tremendous suffering. I can't say that that doesn't occasionally happen. It does, because it's kind of it's a process. Things fall away. They clarify. Oh no, my iPhone's running out of battery. That's what the camera is. It says 20% battery remaining. Ooh, I wonder. Yeah, well, I guess we wrap it up soon. But yeah, why were those yoga mats rolled up in the corner? Yeah, they're bamboo yoga mats. They're fantastic. We were trying to do some yoga this morning because we're starting to feel a little bit more energy after being sick for a week, my wife and I. Let's see. Dan says maybe uncomfortable is the better word, not negative. Yes, so how do you deal with uncomfortable emotion? You let them be. They are uncomfortable. You're right. That's the good description. It's like, there's a movement of mind that says I'd rather not. That's okay. So when they come, often now it's like spontaneously they get noticed. And spontaneously there's a letting go that seems to happen where it's just like, okay, that's fine. But there might be a little initial resistance or a pushing away, a pulling toward, those kind of things. Jennifer Ward, I'm supposed to accept everything, but I find myself rejecting man-made things. What's up with that? I love people and hate them at the same time. Oh, bitch. You are speaking my language, Jennifer. I love people and I fucking think they're terrible. I move toward while simultaneously going, oh, this is disgusting. That's it. The natural responses that we have energetically, these tendencies, are deep conditioning. It's not like they go away. They can't. Can't bypass being human. But you can just go, oh, yep, okay. Love people and hate them. Can't explain it. Would rather be alone most of the time, but sometimes I'm just desperate for others. That's totally fine. We make it a problem, right? Because the mind wants to be either or, this, that. What if it's both and all the time? All the time. It's always inclusive, always yes. Even when it's no. It's yes to no, right? Elizabeth says, I visualize bottling up the sublime or deeply contented moments, knowing they'll go away. When I'm in more negativity, it's nice to know the bottle is there even if I can't open it on my own. Oh, that's beautifully said. We all have our little hacks. Kathy says, the last time I was pissed off at my kid, I went to walk off the energetics and refused to go home until I was zen. It took about 20 minutes, not too bad. I like that you even found it, that it arose to do that. Like, that's really beautiful. Doesn't matter if you were still mad, that's okay. But it's like, oh, it's a grace when we're shown a door, right, to less suffering. It really is grace. Yeah, the need to feel one way or the other is the duality of the mind, Sue. Yeah, that's right. It's okay too. Working on always yes, beautiful answer. Yeah, always yes is a hard one. When we're so used to, the mind is so used to saying no, or yes but, or either or. What if it's always just yes? You know, like in improv comedy, it's always yes and. That's a beautiful kind of spiritual practice, for lack of a better way of describing it. Are there any non-dual speakers you still like to listen to, Sue? No. That's just not interesting to me. It was. May have been helpful. But now it's kind of like, why? Why? What are they talking about? Like, it's this, which is great. It's nice to have that fall away. But if it didn't, that'd be fine too. Then I'd still watch them. Not interested at all. I tried too. I tried getting into Tony Parsons and Jim Newman, and it's like, yeah, that's fine. Who cares? They're all repetitive too, every single one, because you can only say the same thing 1,000 different ways 1,000,000 times, and it just gets old. Dan says, I feel like it's not a yes or a no. I feel like most of the time it's I don't know. But people are uncomfortable admitting that. Yeah, so we kind of speak provisionally as yes. Because we know, like, even yes is like, I don't fucking know. Like living really in and as and from the unknown. Beyond any duality of yes and no, beyond any of that, beyond even the conceptions of that. Just beyond. Well, that's hard to talk about, isn't it? But it's this. It's like the origin of all this. It is all this. All duality comes from that total unknown. Even that's nonsense. You know what I just said is nonsense. Yeah, it's funny. I went back and looked at some non-duality speakers that I used to enjoy and thought they had great insights. And now I just see, depressed person trying to avoid life, person trying to get more followers for their Patreon, person telling the same story they've told 1,000 different ways. I'm sorry. It's sad and funny, but it is just what it is. It's what we do. Look at me. I'm just sitting here in my fucking she shed talking shit. I have nothing to say. Reggie, really when seeing these speakers in my feed now, a sick, disgusted feeling arises. I went through that phase actually, Reggie. Like, I would get disgusted. I was like, oh, fucking this person. Oh, now look, they're going to say this. But that fell away because I realized all of it's just this. It's all this. It's all fine. I realized there was a part of me that was resentful and angry and hurt and disgusted that I wasted so much time, like, believing there were authorities on anything. There's even people on YouTube that say there are no authorities, and they attack authorities, and they're holding themselves up as an authority and asking you to pay for their, one-on-ones and all this stuff. And it's like, in the end, it's like you just can't escape being a human. People are just they want to make a living. They want to feel like they're doing something. Sometimes they just have nothing else to do. Like it's honestly, I don't know that I'm any different. Like, I know I'm not. Stacy says, I remember when I lived in some of this state of being, then my body began struggling and my focus turned to providing my body's needs, and that still takes most of my energy. Beautiful. That's what's happening then. Why would it be otherwise? How gorgeous. It doesn't need to be any way. Yeah? I spent the last week just tending to my sick-ass fucking body by doing nothing. It was great. Dan says, Z-Dog, you're a hypocrite for saying that, to be honest, but I also love your content and also agree with you 100%. I'm a total hypocrite. I'm doing everything that I'm accusing these people of doing. But I'm doing it openly. Like it makes a difference. I'm as big a piece of shit as any human. We're all just human. We're humaning. But the difference is, well, there's no difference. I'm just telling you how it is here. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck if these people are offended. I don't give a fuck if they make videos about me. I don't give a fuck if they're right and I've been wrong all this time. I just don't care. Something that the death of the one who cares may have occurred, at least partially. I still care enough to get up and make a video, so. And I do like y'all. I do. Maybe more than like. There's a feeling of really deep connection when I do these. For no reason and for no one. I don't get it. Risa Doobie, not gonna lie, got sucked into the Violet drama a few days back. Oh God, that's just a fucking, the whole Violet Angelo drama thing. It's just tune it out because it's nonsense. Don't give it any air. It's just humans humaning. Yeah. I don't know. I should make a video just boo-hooing about like all the shit that, oh, this fucking teacher did this to me, and then this happened, and this happened, and it's like, and then I'll make the video as the teacher, and I'll be like, this fucking dumbass. It's like, humans are so funny, and YouTube is a total shit show. I don't know. Fuck it all. Oh, Dan, no, I know that. That's what I love. That's why I liked your comment. Excuse me. I think you need to go full frazzled old raspy smoker accent right now, Serenish. Yeah, that's the thing. Fucking Sue. Find out. Where's my fucking pack? Fucking peel it out and just. Oh, cigarette would fucking end my life right now. Aeonus says, what if you're currently in the spiritual ego phase, Z-Dog? Do you mean me specifically? It's totally possible. I would say that I've been in obvious spiritual ego for much of my YouTube career talking about spiritual stuff. And when you say you're not in it, you're always in it. The spiritual ego is the worst type of ego because it's empowered by thinking you're better, truly, like because you have some insight. So it's like, oh yeah, fucking I know emptiness. I know there's no self. Wait, what? Listen to your fucking self-talk. Yeah, it's pretty funny. Yeah, here today we'll all boo-hoo together. That's right. Oh God, I'm dying. Oh, fuck me. All right, let's see here. Yeah, so it's possible I'm just all spiritual ego. Yeah, even if your ego is dead, you still have an ego. I mean, the ego goes nowhere. It's a process. It's not even a thing. We give it way too much reality. It's a movement, and it's a fucked up movement. But it's helpful in the relative sense. It gives us this feeling of separation and that we can push and pull on reality and so on. So I guess stuff happens that way, I guess. Oh, thank you, Cindy. I'm not in LA, Dan. I'm in San Francisco Bay. We have less smog and more fog. Risa says, I mean, just for gossip and curiosity's sake, sometimes when you end a shift with a code sheet at 9 p.m., it's fun to get lost in spiritual gossip. Yeah, it is kind of a fun little game. I actually feel really bad that it's happening at all. I don't think it was necessary. I don't think it was necessary for that to happen, that whole little drama. It doesn't benefit anyone. Yeah. Sadness. Yeah, what are you going to do? Funny comments. Have I been streaming for an hour and a half, Ashley? Dude, it's not even that I'm not 100%. I'm still like 50%. Sue says, will you imbibe in psychedelics again? Doesn't matter. They're another thing, another experience, another little reminder. I don't know. I don't feel any call for it right now. Do you still experience outrage? Years ago, I found your videos about moral injury and it was meaningful. Is that part you transcended? Jonathan Nathan Shopper. No, actually. I get fucking outraged. So like if you tell me anything about RFK Jr. running Health and Human Services, that fucking science-denying conspiracy fucking anti-vax piece of shit, you will feel nothing but fucking hatred and outrage from me arise instantly. And the fact that guy's in power is fucking disgusting. My only hope is that my friend Marty McCary can actually push back on him, but I know that he's not in a position to do that. So fuck all of us. So you see, that outrage can arise fully. It can be felt fully. It can be inhabited as a view, and then it falls away. So what would I do? What action would happen in the world? Well, I would never support him. I would never say a nice thing about him. Any chance I get to spread the word that he's a douche canoe, I will do. Fuck that guy in every fucking hole. So yeah, that still arises. Moral injury in healthcare is still a fucking outrage. It's because we've ceded our power to bureaucrats and money makers and business people. And they suck. But we suck too, because we gave it away. So yeah, that stuff still arises. You don't transcend it. You don't transcend your humanness. You just fully allow it to be without pushing and pulling on it. So like before I would have been like, oh shit, I shouldn't have said that shit about RFK. Oh fuck, there's some people that'll just put, and it's just going to light up the comments. Now I'm just like, fuck you. I like the shirt. I just don't believe it here today. I don't believe it either. I've been yapping for fucking an hour and a half, apparently. Got to read The Onion. At least the crazy negative shit can be funny. RFK Jr. encourages Americans to do their own research about dragons. He's such a fucking cunt. Oh my God. I love that he's like showing pictures of this doctor covered in measles going, this guy's a great doctor. He's like in a fucking clinic with a bunch of people who don't have measles. Oh my God. It's like we live in the Twilight Zone, people. Really. As a physician, I'm disgusted. I also think it's hilarious. Oh man. Yeah, we all have our outrage points. Yeah, I don't know who Mark Carney is, Occam. Let's see. Yeah, I know, George. It is sad, right? Someone who's benefited from NIH, has benefited from science, like saved your life. And then you see like what's happening. It's like, oh God. I mean, it's a reaction. It's a reaction to COVID excess, of course. But dude, really? We just become a fucking idiocracy as a result? Like, we were an idiocracy before. Aeonis says, after your awakening, did you begin to notice other people in your life who were already awakened, who you were previously oblivious to? I just noticed that there's no one who wakes up. So you just see life everywhere. You see awakeness everywhere, including in apparent separate people. So it's like a deeper appreciation for everything, including other people. Yeah. Let's see. Oh, he's the Prime Minister of Canada. Oh, fuck. Oh, that Matt Carney. Right, of course. Yeah, fuck me. I guess I should listen to the news, but I don't give two shits about Canada because I don't live there. A lot of great fans from Canada, but I don't live there, so I have barely enough mental bandwidth to know who my fucking leaders are. Here today, no one is awake. That's right, because who wakes up? Who is it that wakes up? What separate being wakes up? This is madness. John C., do you still practice medicine? Nah, I stopped that shit. It's not. That's run its course for me. Yeah. Man, that was an identity hard to let go of. Resisted that for years, even though I knew the writing was on the wall. And I was like, Now I'm like, yep, nope, fuck it. Nope. You know, I was talking to some lawyer recently, and she kept trying to call me Dr. Demania. And I was like, just call me Zubin. And she's like, no, you worked really hard to earn, the title doctor, and I would like to call you Dr. Demania. And I'm like, well, you can call me whatever the fuck you want, but that's for you, not for me. I'm telling you, I don't identify as doctor, and you're just still calling me what you want. So let's say what it is. It's for you, not for me. You're doing this not out of respect for me. You're doing this because you have a fucking fixation on identity and on status and on hierarchy. I don't think she liked that. Hi, Lizette. Yeah, we're still live. I don't know why. Probably should have stopped a while ago. Oh, actually, I'm going to run out of battery. All right, now I got to go. Now that Lizette's here, I got to go. Love you guys. This was a lot of fun, but this battery's about to die. Yep, it says 5% left. Would I encourage the Z-Pups to go into medicine? My oldest? Fuck no. I know she's not interested, and it's not her tendency. My youngest, maybe, but it'd have to be the right thing for her. But we'll see. I've been surprised. All right, love you guys. Peace.